All right, fourth graders, it's Mr. Remedies back with lesson number 3 for this week in our spiral review, getting us ready, getting us geared up for that oncoming STAR test. Today, we're talking about our Trrap a Star reading passage, part 3. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get on to our learning goals and success criteria. Today, we are learning to engage with a text using the third step in the Trrap strategy. Along the way, we have some success criteria, help you keep motivated, keep on keeping on, let you know that you are understanding the idea and really grabbing a hold of some success here. First one, I can describe what TRAP stands for. Second, I can identify main points within a paragraph. And number 3, I can annotate a passage with notes. And we're going to pause here for not an official vocabulary word, but the word annotate means just to make notes or mark. All right, so let's move on to Trrap. All right, so remember, we've been talking about this all week. This is a strategy, a process we can use when we come to any kind of text where we're answering questions, specifically ones that are typically written like start. So the first one, as we talked about on our first lesson of the week, is T for title, author's purpose. Our first R that we learned about yesterday was read the questions, including underlining key words. Today we're going to talk about read the passage. Tomorrow we're going to talk about answering the questions. And then finally we're going to prove our answers. So today we are talking about the second R in Trrap, right? Which is read the passage. Okay? In this step, you want to read the passage, but we don't want to just read the passage. And then just fly right back to the questions. No, ma'am, no, sir. We want to make notes as you read. Making notes helps us understand what we're reading in a much better way. Also, making notes helps us identify where to go back and find the answer once we go on to the next step. And so now let's give it a try. So let's head back to our passage that we've been working with all week. A dessert with a long history. And as you can see here, I've got a copy of it. Remember, look here, I still got my title circled from lesson number 1 this week. Okay, now I'm going to start to read it, okay, and make notes as I read. So, paragraph 1 here. When it's hot outside, there's nothing better than ice cream to cool you down. But it isn't always been possible to order a scoop of ice cream at your local ice cream shop. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pencil, I'm going to scribble here, right out to the side that this is our introduction paragraph. This is just introducing the topic. Okay. Hundreds of years before there were electric freezers, people in China made frozen desserts by mixing milk with snow and spices. The Roman Emperor Nero sent his fastest runners into the mountains to gather snow. The snow was brought back before it could melt and was mixed with honey, nuts, or fruit juice. So here I'm going to note that China and Rome had iced treats. Doesn't say they were necessarily ice cream, but still had some version of iced treats, ice cream, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Continuing on, then I just keep going on to the third paragraph. The Chinese and Roman treats were unlike today's ice cream. These desserts were made with small pieces of frozen ice and were similar to snow cones. By the 1600s, flavored dishes in which cream was combined with ice were produced in several European countries. These desserts looked and tasted more like the kind of ice cream served today. So, taking my pencil, just make a quick note. Ice cream changed in the 1600s. I could probably also put Europe here as a note. That might help me know where I'm talking about as well. Okay. Moving on, I'm just going to move down to the fourth paragraph. When people came from Europe to America in the 1700s, they brought their recipe for ice cream with them. But the frozen treat did not become very popular. It was difficult to find and keep the ice needed to make the dessert. It took a long time to mix the ingredients, and then the mixture had to be frozen for several hours before it could be eaten. Well, that's a pretty long paragraph. It's got a lot of information there, but I'm still just going to annotate it with ice cream comes to America. It was not popular. Could keep ice cold. I'm sorry, that should say could not keep ice cold. I apologize. So it's real quick here. You notice that my notes, okay, just hitting the major points of all this information here. Now, I'm going to do this for paragraphs 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to keep doing this and repeating the process. But I think you guys are hipping with it, so we're going to give you a chance to try. So remember, right, take notes as you read, okay? So that way we're not forgetting what we've read. Okay? There's no shame in taking a note, okay? The STAR test is not a memory test. It is a test of your skills. So, hey, take some notes. Do well. And also, keep your notes short, okay? If you notice in the last paragraph for our example, there was a very long piece of text. It was a chock full of information. However, I just summarized it in 3 quick, incomplete sentences, just some phrases that helped me to understand what the paragraph's about. And that's perfectly all right. And write your notes close to the paragraph. So that way you can stay organized and not wonder too much what your notes are all about since they're not so close to the paragraph. So take notes as you read, keep your notes short, and write notes close to the paragraph so you know what you're talking about. Seems like a pretty good thing to do. All right. As a review, the third step in Trrap is to read the passage. But we're not just reading the passage. During this step, we should read the passage, make notes in the margins about the paragraphs as you read. You should keep your notes short, and you definitely got to keep the notes near the paragraphs. Okay, I think this is an incredibly great great strategy in attacking a passage. It is a skill that you will use well after the 4th grade STAR. You'll use it in 5th grade, 6th grade, and the idea of taking notes on a text, you're gonna find that's very useful in your university and college days. So this is a pretty good skill to get started on learning how to do. And I'm glad that I was able to bring it to you today. As always, you guys have been fantastic. Don't let anyone ever tell you any different. I've been Miss Remedies, and we will see you mañana.